Hello, everyone, and welcome to Exploring Awesome. I am your host, Jim Kellner. Thanks for joining me today. Today, of course, every episode, of course, of Exploring Awesome, I explore tips, tricks, and strategies to help you live you and I, to live a more awesome life and feature with people who are doing awesome things. So, thanks for joining me. Today is a solo episode, just me. But I do want to let you know, next week I have Craig Holliday coming on the show, and he's going to be telling us about, hold on, this is a good one, I'm going to look at it so I don't forget it, the mindset of the entrepreneur, why not me? And so that's pretty excited to have him on the show. Really great guy. He's been helping businesses and entrepreneurs for about 25 years. So great. Hey, if you tuned in last week, I apologize. Boy, there was some really some tough issues with the sound, and hopefully you got something out of it. I know a bunch of people did listen anyway, and so today's episode is titled. What did I title it? That's right. Why you shouldn't meditate and what to do instead. Now, if you tuned in a couple weeks ago, you know I did a podcast on this over at Blog Talk, and unfortunately, it was just awful. It really was. The sound quality was terrible. I was kind of fumbling around trying to send out the link and everything, which I apologize. I should have done that before, or just drop it. So this time you have my undivided attention. I have some notes here too. As you may know, as I said, I'm Jim Kellner. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm also a comedy hypnotist, speaker, author, and the most powerful man in this room right now. All right. Hey, if you are out there, I see there's a few of you on there. If you are listening right now, live tweet me your questions, comments, concerns. I do need to actually do that. I'll need to open up that dialogue, the Twitter. Go ahead and live tweet me. You can make your comments, questions, concerns. Also, if you tweet me your email address, I will actually put you on the call with me, so you can talk about your experience with meditation, why you don't like meditation, why people shouldn't meditate, or maybe why they should meditate. We'll get everybody's different viewpoint here. Let me just get that going. So, if you do want to tweet me, see twitter.com. It is at Jim Kellner. That's JimKellner. As you can see right there on the screen. I don't remember how I got that on there, but anyway, there it is. So I do have the dialogue opened. Well, looking here for direct messages. Nope, nothing yet. So what I want to say today, now, first of all, I do want to let you know, anybody that is a meditator, I'm not going to tell you to stop. If you're already meditating, please keep doing it. You've probably already noticed a lot of benefits, decreased stress. I was just over at themayoclinic.com and looking over some of the benefits that have actually been backed up by research. So if you are doing meditation, you may be noticing a decrease in stress, decrease in anxiety, depression, even pain. Some studies have even indicated greater self-control and willpower. I'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. And increased well-being and I already said self-control. Yeah, increased well-being. So I will tell you that I do meditate. And so you may wonder why I'm doing a talk today on why you shouldn't meditate, and I'll get that into a moment. The reason I want to talk about this is because there's a lot of people out there I think would benefit from meditation, but there's a bunch of reasons that maybe get in their way, and so I understand how those things can get in the way, so I just want to talk about those and maybe help find some different solutions, because there's no doubt there are benefits to meditation. I think it's great. We live in a time right now, guys, when we can quantify all this stuff. And I think it's amazing because, for years, maybe we heard or thought or just knew that things like meditation would be good for us, or, exercise, those kind of things. And now we can actually quantify the benefits, with the research, MRIs. There was one great study I was just looking at where people that meditated actually had, I'm going to screw it up now, but I don't want to go back and look at the page and lose your attention. But they had more, I think it was more gray matter after, as they aged than people who didn't, and which is a good thing. It's a sign of a healthy brain, if I remember right. As I say, I don't want to go back over at it. Anyway, that was off the top of the head. Anyway, you can see some of the other benefits. Listen, I understand. I know why a lot of you don't meditate. Same reasons that I didn't meditate for years. And let me just talk about a couple of those. You know, one of the three things that I hear most often is I can't sit still. Okay. The other one, I can't clear my mind for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And I don't have time. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'll tell you one thing to notice too. The first two things there are both can'ts. I hate can't. I hate can't. And the last one, don't. You know, I always want to say, is it that you can't do it or that you won't do it? And you probably heard that before. You know, or is it with the time? I don't have time, or you won't make the time. Much better if we just make a decision. We don't say we can't do something. I think, in my personal opinion, you know, if you want to be an empowered human being, you know, stop talking about what you can't do and just talk about what you won't do. You know, that's fine. Look, I'm not willing to make the time. I'm not willing to sit still for however long it takes to meditate. You know, I'm not willing to make the time to exercise, or, you know, whatever it is. So you're going to feel more empowered by doing that, and also notice that your excuses kind of dry up, because even though a lot of us are pressed for time, there are still people out there that are getting a lot done in the same amount of time. In fact, I was a few years back, I found out that a lot of Olympic athletes actually work full-time, part-time jobs, and have families, and you know how much training it takes to be an Olympic athlete. So there really is the whole time excuse. I don't know if it's a good excuse. But anyway, I get it. We all make excuses. We come up with reasons why. I actually did a video on making excuses to succeed. I encourage you to look at that. Also, while I'm on the topic of encouraging you to do things, if you would, you know, have you ever wondered about hypnosis? You know, I tell you, I just went to a networking event last night, and nearly everybody I talked to, one of the first things that they said is, does that really work, or is that real? You know, and which cracks me up, because I always think, you know, I want to tell back to him, to the mortgage broker, I want to go, is that real? You know, to the dentist, is that really real, that whole dentistry thing? You know, it's boy, I don't know why we have such a difficulty understanding, you know, hypnosis, been, you know, research and everything, but I understand a lot of people have questions about it. They don't believe. Here's a great thing. You don't have to believe in hypnosis, just like you don't have to believe in gravity to fall down. You don't have to believe in hypnosis to experience the benefits. So with that said, if you'd like to try out hypnosis, if you'd like to just give it a try, no cost, head over to my website, jimkellner.com. You can see it spelled right there, jimkellner.com, Kellner. Check it out. There's a little box up there that says sign up for the newsletter. Sign up for that, and I will send you a complimentary hypnosis process. This is one that I actually give to my clients all the time. So it's not just some crappy thing that I throw up there for free. It's actual one of the real ones that I use to help people make positive change in their life. All right, let's talk about meditation. As I said, I do meditate. So it is kind of strange maybe that I'm saying you shouldn't meditate. And I won't say you shouldn't, because I try never to should anybody. But I'm telling you maybe something else to try instead. Here's the thing. I actually have a lot of clients come in who would benefit tremendously based on the research for meditation. You know, people that are, you know, anxiety, stress, depression, pain, they've all been shown to be helped with meditation. So hold on, I think we have a, nope, okay. I thought we had a tweet. So would be helped with meditation. You know, anxiety especially, well, I won't even say especially, but you know, that's one of the things that really gets me is, you know, if you have any kind of anxiety issues, boy, I think probably meditation's a good thing for you to give a try to. But also, as I say, you know, pain, depression, all these things. What the studies are showing now is that meditation actually changes your brain, and which I think is really cool. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about, well, let me first say some of the reasons why people tell me they can't meditate, why I didn't meditate for years. In fact, here's what's crazy. I wanted to meditate ever since I heard about it, because I was always, as you've listened to the show, if you've listened to the show before, you know, I was into all the weird, kooky stuff. And So I was wanting to meditate. There was I remember I read this book. It was on Tibetan mysticism. I should check that book out again. Anyway, it was about all these Tibetan monks and yogis and stuff that would go up into the Himalayas, and they would meditate for hours and hours, days, weeks at a time, and they could levitate and they could transport themselves through walls and things like this. And of course, I'm like, wow, that is sweet. I need to learn how to do this. And so when I was that was probably when I was like 13 or 14, I read this book. And so I immediately set about to not meditating. I don't know why. There was a whole lot of stuff, a lot of the same reasons that I've just mentioned here. No time, can't sit still, can't clear my mind. Also, I don't really know what to do. How do I meditate? We didn't have I want to date myself, though heaven knows somebody needs to. We didn't have the internet back in those olden days. So at least not the internet that we have today. And I mean, really, what a gift it is that you could type in meditation and you can find out 1,000 websites at least that are going to tell you how to meditate. But there were books available, and there were classes and workshops and all kinds of things like this that I could have done, but I just never did. And that's okay. We get to where where we need to be when we need to be there, I suppose. Whatever. All right. So anyway, so I've always wanted to meditate. I didn't start meditating until about, it's got to be about 6 years ago now, when I started sort of doing it on a fairly regular basis. I mean, I'd done it like once or twice or something. Here's the crazy thing. This is why I didn't meditate. You want to hear this? This is crazy. I was afraid I would meditate too long. Right, I didn't want to meditate too long, and I didn't really have, for some reason, I mean, a couple of times I used a little timer, but it just didn't work. It just wasn't there for me for some reason. But when I decided to change my life, as you may have heard in some of my other podcasts about 6 years ago, the three things that I did was I started eating fruits and vegetables, just one of each a day, walking for 5 minutes, and I said I was going to do meditation, just 1 to 2 minutes a day. It was 1 minute, I think, to start off with. And then it just sort of grew. And now I actually go to these weekly ones that are like 40 minutes sometimes, and not always easy. And if you're sitting there going, my goodness, I could never sit still for 40 minutes. It's not something you just tackle, probably. You got to build into it. And there are some strategies to help you. But anyway, so that's where I'm at with meditation. Just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, and I'll tell you what really actually got me meditating was my phone. Okay, I got a new phone about 6 years ago, and it had one of the apps was a meditation timer. Why I couldn't just use a regular old timer, I don't know. But anyway, so I got this app and I downloaded it, and now the one that I have, I got to tell you about this one, because if you do decide that you want to meditate or do this other thing that I'm going to tell you about instead, which is probably going to help, it's called Meditation Helper, and it's got this little red wheel on it, and there's a whole bunch of them out there, and this is just the one that I like the best, and I'll tell you why. Because it has like if you can see on the front there, where the green is right there, you'll see it shows you how many times in a row you've done it, and then if you've done it for that day, it lights up green, so you can say I've done it, and something else, I think how many overall times you've done it. Anyway, and I got a new phone, and so I reset my timer, so I had to, so I didn't have, so it started over my days in a row. Bummer. But anyway, and I'm not, this is no affiliate links or anything like that. I'm not getting anything out of it from Meditation Helper. But I think it's cool because, it gives you a reminder, and then, when I see that green on there, I'm like, yes, I did my meditation today. And so I was talking to my friend Marianne a couple weeks ago, and because she's meditated off and on. And I had just gotten to like day 21 of meditating 21 days in a row, and so a lot of people will say, well, you've developed a habit now. And that's actually outdated information. It's been outdated for several years actually, and I don't know why we're not hearing more about that. But the whole it takes 21 days to develop a habit. The research has actually shown that for some things, sure, I mean, as little as maybe a couple of weeks, you can develop a new habit. For some things, it takes much longer. And so I wish we could get that information out to people more readily. But she was asked, let me just do this a little aside here. I think if you find it necessary to track your meditation, you're probably doing it for the wrong reason. Oh well, that's the way it goes. I do feel like I need to track these things because it helps me to stay focused. As I've talked about before, as I talked about in my book, Navigating Success, people talk about they want to get motivated to do something, and I'll tell you, I can help somebody get motivated in the short term, with a pep talk, a speech. Hypnosis, even maybe even longer term with that. I'll tell you the thing that I've noticed that really, really will help keep you motivated long term is action. Because you know what, when I meditate today, I'm much more likely to meditate tomorrow. Same with exercise. When I exercise on a Tuesday, I'm much more likely to exercise on a Wednesday, or in 2 days or however long it is, It's when we go those long stretches of time without doing those things we want to do that I think we run into problems with motivation. Of course. So anyway, that's your key to motivation. That was your secret bonus for watching today. So she asked me, what kind of benefits have you gotten from meditation? And it reminded me of, I think it was, it may have been Wayne Dyer, or anyway, I saw it somewhere. It said, you shouldn't meditate for the benefits. You should just meditate. And I think that's great in theory, but you know what? Man, I'm a modern person. I'm an American, and if I'm going to do something, I want to benefit. But sometimes those benefits aren't very tangible, and we don't see them right away anyway. That's why it's great that the research is being done to show us. And I actually, at the time, I couldn't think of anything except one thing came to mind. And I think for me, it's kind of weird. This is the greatest benefit I get from meditation, and from a lot of things I do, from exercise and all this, is I now get to associate myself with people that meditate. And what I mean by that is I now get to be in that group of people that meditate, and I get to, at least in my mind, be a part of that community. And also, I feel like I have some of those same positive qualities that people that meditate have, if that makes sense. So let me explain that a little bit. What I mean by that is, we all have different ideas about people that, say meditate, exercise, that are good cooks, things like that. We sort of lump in other qualities with that. And so, for example, somebody that exercises, we might go, well, probably they're healthy, they're probably more motivated, determined, better willpower, those kind of things, right? May not be true in a lot of ways, but we kind of put those qualities on them. So when I think about people that meditate, I think people that are calmer, maybe more successful. It's kind of amazing that if you talk read a lot of, I don't talk to a lot of CEOs, but if you read articles about CEOs and stuff, a lot of them talk about doing a meditation or at least some quiet thinking time, that kind of stuff. And which is really interesting because I've actually noticed that a lot of the people that I'm meeting now that are sort of attracting into my life are meditators. So it's kind of interesting. But see now, so I get to be one of those people that are, I can say, successful, that are less calmer, all those kind of things. And also, the other benefit of that is it gives me something to live into. And so I'll give you a great example. Just yesterday, I was, I wasn't even really running late for an appointment, but I was running a little bit behind. And of course, how it is in traffic, it's like easy to remain calm when you've got, plenty of time. But when you don't have a lot of time, it's like, And so I found myself getting all worked up and all this. And then I remember, I said, you know what, this isn't me. And I reminded myself, I said, this isn't you. You're not that guy. You're not that guy anymore. Anyway. And so that's the other benefit. Now, I've actually noticed, as I think about it, though, I have noticed over the years that my willpower, my self-control has gotten much better. When I'm meditating regularly, I have more self-control, as far as eating healthy, exercise, all that kind of stuff. So one of the benefits there. But let's look at some of the reasons why people don't meditate. These are the things that people have told me. I work with clients; they tell me these things. In fact, I was hanging out with a friend of mine about a month or so ago, and I was just sort of had this impression. We were driving by the place where I do the 40-minute meditations once a week, and I was going to talk about it, and then I was just like, and I kind of looked at her and I said, "You're probably not the kind of person that meditates, are you?" Because I can just sort of tell, you know, you can almost kind of tell. And she said, "Oh God, no." And but one of the things is that I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. But so one of the things is she is sort of I would say probably I won't say hyper, but probably very active type person. Now, so one of the things that people will oftentimes say is I can't sit still, okay, for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and believe me, I get that. I do. I really do get that. Sometimes, and I'll tell you this last Sunday, you know, some days are easier than others, and this last Sunday was a tough one. For some reason, you know, it's 40 minutes. You're sitting in there in a room with a bunch of other people, and which is kind of strange. Be meditating with a group of people, but it's I think it's helpful. You know, you sort of makes you want to meditate a little bit longer because you don't want to get up, and although you're welcome to leave anytime you want, but you don't really want to do that. And so it kind of makes you maybe go a little bit longer than you would if you're just sitting there at home. So, and I'll tell you, the funny thing was too is I'm telling you, the meditation leader, you know, most of them like use their phone. They have a timer on there or something, or I see them, they have like a little timer or something. She took a wristwatch. She had a wristwatch, and it wasn't like a digital watch. It was like a hands on it, the analog, I think they call it, whatever, old timey, we'll say, wristwatch. So she took that off, and all of a sudden I was thinking, well, wait a minute. Is there an alarm on there? Because those kind of don't usually have an alarm, right? So is there a timer? And I felt this sort of getting, I won't say panicked, but a little bit like, what if what if she loses track of time or something? And I thought, it'll be fine. She's been doing it a long time. You know, she'll stop it at 40 minutes. So we get into about 35 minutes, and I'm starting to lose my mind. It was one of those days where I really wasn't able to sit still. I mean, it was difficult. Of course, I did sit still, but it was very challenging. I also had all these other thoughts running through my head, and you know, these times when I'm, you know, it's like sometimes during meditations, like I think, oh my goodness, I need to get this done, and I need to get it done right now, and so all these thoughts are going. I'm still trying to just observe the thoughts and just go with the flow. And we got to 40 minutes, and I'm looking at my watch sort of out of the corner of my eye going, I don't know, seems like it's been 40 minutes, but okay, maybe I misgot the wrong time or something. And we get to like 44 minutes, 45 minutes, and I'm going, oh my goodness, what if she has fallen asleep? Okay, what if she's passed out? If she's dead, people, nobody knows, right? We could be sitting there for 2 hours. So I'm going, should I start making some noise or something? Should I just get up? And I finally said, okay, at 50 minutes, I'm just going to get up and go because I got things to do. I don't have time for this meditation crap today. I know it's silly. And, but I tried to stay still, kind of fidgeting a bit, and then I kind of heard other people fidgeting a little bit, so maybe they were all thinking the same thing, like, what's going on? Because we've committed to 40 minutes, but no more. And I want enlightenment, but I want it right now, not in 45 minutes. And so we got to 50 minutes, and there's this whole group of people, so I still don't want to get up and go. And it was about 54 minutes, I think, is when finally she let us know it was time to stop. And I'm just going, oh my goodness, now I got to meditate just to get over my halfway panic attack from meditating for too long. And so look, believe me, guys, I'm not there yet. I'm not enlightened. I'm not peaceful as I want to be. But one of the things, you can't sit still, look, for 40 minutes. And for some people, they will never be able to sit still for 40 minutes easily. I think anybody can. I mean, if you go to a lecture or something, you sort of have to, right? But maybe this is something where you go, well, yeah, but this is my time. I don't want to do it. Sure, I can sit and watch a TV show maybe for an hour, but some people can't. I know my sister, we'd be watching a movie, and like every 20, 30 minutes, she'd have to get up and go do something and come back, and she just couldn't sit still that long. And so here's the thing: you don't have to. So a couple of options, and the other thing I would say to this too, and what I tell clients sometimes is, whatever what is most difficult in life, you probably need more of. Let me explain that a little bit. If you find it really difficult to exercise, you don't have much energy, you don't want to make the time for it, you're not motivated, whatever, you're probably the one that needs that. Now, somebody who's more fidgety and moving around all that stuff all the time probably need it less than the person who's more sedentary, that's having a really tough time doing it. Same thing with meditation. If you find it excruciatingly difficult to sit still for 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you probably benefit from it, right? People that are really good at just sitting still for 10 minutes probably don't need it as much. Not saying you don't need it, but probably need it less. So if, and kind of think about that too, as you're going through your life, if you find something really challenging, you probably need to put a little more time into that, a little more focus into that, unless it's something you don't really care about. I'll tell you, I have a tough time with math. I'm not like math illiterate. I can, count 1, 2, 7, 8, whatever. But I should spend more time on it. But I have value in it, so I just don't. But anyway, so here's the thing: if you can't sit still for 10, 20 minutes, whatever, great. Tell you what, you can literally start with 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, doesn't matter. Whatever you start with is just fine. I remember reading Dan Millman, I believe is his name. He wrote The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Great book, by the way. And he was, in one of his books, he was talking about that people will ask him, do you meditate every day? And he says, yes, I meditate every single day. They go, oh my goodness, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're doing all these things. How do you, have time for that? He goes, I always meditate. He goes, I don't always sit in, lotus position, for 10, 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes it's just counting my breaths at a stoplight, taking a few moments right before going to sleep or something. So if all you do is just take those, that just few moments here and there throughout the day, you can start to build your meditation muscle, if that's what you want to do. Because here's the thing, the other thing too, and actually let me back up just a little bit, sorry. Because one of the things too is one of the other reasons that people will sometimes don't want to do meditation. They have this whole idea, so like I have this idea of all these positive attributes of meditation, but other people have these negative connotations when it comes to meditation. I think it's all woo-woo, right? It's hippie stuff. Maybe it's Eastern religion, and they're very, they feel like that would be some sort of a blasphemy in their religion. Here's the thing: meditation doesn't. It may have actually started as a religious practice, but it doesn't have to be, and it's not necessarily a religious thing at all. Although really, I think most religions do have some sort of meditation. In fact, if you think about like prayer and maybe even doing the rosary and things like that, are a meditative type practice. But so here's the thing, as I back up just a little bit, sorry, I wanted to talk about this first. I was doing a workshop. I do workshops with a guy named Cal Jurdy, and he's an NLP trainer. And if you're not sure what NLP is, Google that. It's really interesting work. And we were doing a workshop together. He does a training part, and then at the end of it, I spend 10, 15 minutes doing a hypnosis process for the group to kind of lock in the information for the day. And I can't remember how it came up, but he said one thing to do every day. He said was to just sit quietly and just sort of, I think he said, focus on your breathing. I don't remember exactly how he phrased it. And as he was kind of describing this, a couple more things. He was kind of describing it. I'm thinking, isn't that meditation? Are you talking about meditation? And somebody actually raised their hand. They said, isn't that meditation? Or should just talk about meditation? And he said, well, yes, I'm talking about meditation, but I don't call it meditation necessarily, because so many people have this idea of meditation, of all these connotations, that they have to sit down on the floor maybe facing the east in full lotus position. They've got to clear their mind. It's a religious thing. They've got to throw away their old religious beliefs. They've got to sit still for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, all these things, when that's not necessary. None of those things are necessary. And so this is what I really want to invite you to do is, if you're not a meditator, if you've had all these excuses or reasons why that you can't or won't meditate, I invite you to just not call it meditation. Now, I haven't come up with a good term for it yet, so maybe we just call it sitting quietly for however long you can. That's the thing. It's just like exercise. I have clients come in all the time, because I don't remember if I mentioned this in the beginning. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm also a stage hypnotist, and clients will oftentimes come in and they'll get a report from their doctor. Either their blood sugars are too high, their cholesterol is too high, whatever. Doctor said, the current recommendations are 40 minutes a day. I think it's most days of the week, at least 5 days a week or something like that. And they come in, oh my goodness, I have got to, I've got to start exercise. I'm gonna do it this time. I'm gonna do 30 or 40 minutes. I'm gonna do it 3 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever. And it's people, that's really a disaster. And I know, because I did it all the time before I really made the change and became really someone who exercises regularly. I know how it goes. You tell yourself, okay, I just have to do it now. And so maybe you even get up the strength, the energy to go exercise. Maybe you go for a run, or you go lift weights, something. You spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something. And maybe you can do that for a couple of weeks. But most people do it like once or twice, and then boom, they're done. It's much more important in the beginning of a thing to develop the habit than to even do anything that's going to be beneficial. Like I'll tell clients, go for a walk for 5 minutes, maybe. You might find that helpful. And I should put the disclaimer that I'm not a doctor, so if you have any questions, concerns about your health or wellness, please see a physician before doing anything. But I'll say, have you considered just walking for 5 minutes? Well, that won't do any good. You're right, it won't do any good physically. I mean, it'll do a little bit of good. I mean, there are some physiological benefits there, including actually increasing your mitochondria, which is the little powerhouses, energy powerhouses in the cells. So it's going to give you a little more energy. So it'll give you enough energy, maybe go 6 minutes the next day. But what really is helpful is that you're building that habit. It is much easier to get someone to go for a 5-minute walk 3 days a week than to do 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. But once you can do 5 minutes, you can do 10 minutes. You can go up to 20 minutes, and pretty soon you're going to be doing 30, 40 minutes, and it won't even be a big deal. But same with this meditation or this quiet time thing. Start small. You don't have to, there's a great Zen saying, and I believe it says, if you don't have time to meditate for 20 minutes a day, meditate for 40. I think that's how it goes. Throw that out of your thoughts right now. First thing to do, if you will, is take 30 seconds, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you can do on a regular basis, and just do that. So most any of us can sit still for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. Fair enough? Here's the thing too. If you really don't want to do that, there's all these different kinds of meditation, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment, because the next thing I want to talk about is I can't clear my mind. This is the other thing. This is the thing I love too. People that I just had a woman last night say, "Oh, I couldn't be hypnotized because my mind's always going." I hear this all the time. People, everybody's mind is always going. They call it monkey mind. Everybody's mind is always going. We think that we're unique or special or something in that, but we're not. Once we've trained ourselves, we still are going to have that constant chatter going on, and that's okay. You don't have to clear your mind. One type of meditation is just mindful meditation. You just notice the thoughts, right? That's all you do. You notice them. You just dismiss them, let them go. I love Wayne Dyer talks about just sort of watching them go by, or as the thoughts come up, you don't try to get rid of it. You just notice it. Now, I actually do some visualization where I actually imagine like pulling back some curtains and I see this darkness or something, or I imagine maybe just sort of kind of pushing them aside or things like that. The other thing is one of the things that helped me was I actually was doing some tutoring for students that were English as a second language, and I had actually had a Buddhist monk as one of my students one time, and he was talking about what they do at the temple, of course, and they meditate a lot. And I said, man, I've tried it, but I just can't clear my mind for that long. And he said, don't worry about that. He said, just focus on your breathing. And that's what I found to be the easiest thing, is I just kind of focus on in and out, in and out. It's really as easy as that. But there's a variety of other ways of doing it, and you could certainly try these different ways too. In fact, let me just run through a couple of them right now. So other type of meditation, and this is the sort of the traditional one that we may think of and is kind of made fun of in popular culture, and that's the mantra type, where somebody's going Om, Om, sitting in full lotus, and then Om. Or a play that I saw once, they were being sort of funny, and they were going, or what was it? What's he doing? Making some very strange sound. Anyway, or you could even say, you could do the Om, or you could say love, you could say God, whatever you want to do. But repeating this word or phrase over and over and over in your mind. Okay, that's like a mantra type meditation. The other kind of, like as I was saying, the mindfulness is just sort of paying attention to what's going on, what kind of sensations are going on in your body, those kind of things. Focusing on your breathing. Maybe try and listen for your heartbeat or something like that. And the other one, for you people that have a tough time sitting still, is there's active meditation. Okay, and so you could, you don't have to sit on the floor sitting east, or, actually typically what I do is I sit on my bed. Some people sit in a chair or a couch or something. You don't have to be down on the floor if you don't want to. Things like doing like Qigong, which is similar to Tai Chi or Tai Chi, yoga. These are all ways of doing active meditation. There's even just walking. You can do walking in a mindful way, and you'll get the meditation, or as we're calling it, the anti-meditation. Because for some of you, I don't want you to call it meditation. The other thing is too, is for some of you, if you told your friends you were meditating, they'd go, oh, cuckoo, whatever. So you don't need to tell them that. You can, if you have to tell them anything, you can tell them I just sit quietly for a couple minutes, or I go and do my, my exercise, which is Qigong or Tai Chi or something like that. And the final reason is that I don't have time. Now, as I've already sort of mentioned the other ones, you don't have to spend a lot of time. Really, 10 seconds, half a minute, 1 minute. One of the things that I try to encourage my clients to do with exercises, that whole 5-minute thing. I had a client one time, she couldn't even do 5 minutes. She was extremely overweight. But what she found out was she could do 2 minutes on the treadmill. And so she did 2 minutes, and she got in the habit of doing that, and then she was released. But same thing with this meditation, or this just sitting quietly. You just don't have to do it that way. If you can just take 10, just really start off with 10 seconds. Get yourself, if you get one of these timers, they have a whole bunch of different settings. You can get set it for a different time. I actually have several different settings for 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and 30 minutes. So, some days I want to do 2 minutes, some days I want to do 10, some days 20. So just start with something, and you're going to see some really tangible benefits, I think, because the research is absolutely clear that there are benefits to meditation, even though we're not calling it meditation anymore. What are we going to call it? If you have thoughts, ideas after watching this, of what we should call meditation from now on for people that don't meditate, that's what I should have titled this, meditation for people that don't meditate. But what should we call it? Just this sitting quietly, or moving quietly, or whatever. Or if we're doing a mantra, I guess we wouldn't be quiet. So, we're we have all these different ideas about what meditation is, and I think that a lot of them are just off the wall. So anyway, hey, thanks a lot for watching. And as you may know, we do these episodes at noon every Wednesday, although I may be taking a bit of a hiatus for the summer, but I'll let you know. So at noon every Wednesday, they are broadcast live on YouTube, and they're available on my YouTube channel, Jim Kellner, his name there. They're available after that on my channel, and you can also, there's also audio links, and I will post those when those are available, because I do separate the audio so you can just listen to the audio. Although, as you may have already figured out, you could like play this on your phone, and you wouldn't have to look at it necessarily. You could just listen to it, because I'm not juggling or doing any dancing or anything like that that you're going to miss. All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. And again, if you want to try hypnosis, I encourage you to head over to my website and download the sign up for the newsletter. I'm going to send out you the Exploring Awesome newsletter, which contains all kinds of tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and I live a more awesome life. And it also give you links to a lot of the podcasts and blogs from some of the people that I associate with, interview, that are doing awesome things. So you can head over to my website, jimkellner.com. That's JIMKELLNER. And I do appreciate you listening. Take care, everybody. Be well. And hey, be awesome. I feel so silly just sitting here while that music plays, but I don't know. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Goodbye.